Yeah, I'm getting down to business, baby. I just want to rock. I'm the new singer of Van Halen.
I'm the new singer of Van Halen. I'm going to get rich as shit, mofos.
Enunciate.
Red leather,
Red
yellow
rum,
leather.
red rum.
Leather, yellow leather.
Rutabaga.
Red leather, yellow leather. Or just... I'm going to try not to get too sentimental about it.
All right, welcome to the name of this podcast is Podcast. Episode
Talking over album.
Episode 5, Less Pantless Minutes. Today we're going to do Van Hagar's first Van Hagar.
Yeah.
50.
Van Halen's 5150.
Is that like, does that spell something like OU812?
It was the address of their recording studio, actually.
I thought it was,
everybody likes to make a bunch of shit about how it was something, but...
I thought it was some secret dirty code.
I think it's some code for, like, committing people to Bellevue in New York or something. I don't know. I didn't bother looking it up because it was... They immediately told you when the album came out. It was like, yeah, it's the address of the recording studio. We just couldn't think of anything else.
It's the password for rock stars in rehab. They come up and whisper into the
It is also
intercom.
my ATM password.
So, do you know anything about this album? Tell the general public.
No, not really. It came out after 1984. Mm-hmm. It was the first album with Sammy Hagar singing on it. I remember they made a big deal out of how Sammy Hagar was this great rock guitarist that became a songwriter. So it was just going to be this powerhouse rock band woo thing.
I actually got into Van Hagar first. I know, slap. You're the only one here who has any context of when Sammy Van Hagar came into the band. What was the ruckus?
It's more radio friendly, isn't it? I mean, Van Halen was more of a party band, and then Sammy Hagar came in, and then they started getting like top 40 hits, and it was like, I mean, they had them before, but it was like explosively so.
So was this a ruckus like new Metallica, old Metallica thing? Was this as divisive?
Oh yeah,
bringing him in. Okay.
Oh, I listened to it, but I didn't really buy it. Mm-hmm. It's like if somebody else was playing it, I would listen to it. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. It's not what I grew up on.
My first exposure to Van Halen was like volume 2 of their greatest hits. I think they did like what Queen did, where they put out the various volumes, and it was the one that was heavy on Sammy Hagar. And one of my favorite songs in sort of the genre, pop rock, I guess, is Why Can't This Be Love? That's on this album. And the song from the Power Rangers soundtrack.
Wow, you're going to have to enlighten me on what that is.
The sequel to Jump.
The sequel to Jump?
Crap, what's that song? Dreams. Yeah, Dreams.
You got me on that one.
We can get into that topic later on when there's a dead spot.
You out-trivia'd the trivia master.
Yeah, skipping my mind. But eventually we'll get to that.
That's the interesting thing about Van Hagar, is they do end up on a lot of soundtracks, as I recall.
Let's talk about the album cover. There's a sumo wrestler with a placard around his neck.
Oh, the homoerotica cannot be denied on me.
Lifting up a globe with the VH on it.
Whatever, Eddie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who is that guy?
Yeah, we can get into the topic later of... I don't know if there's any on this because I haven't heard this album all the way through, but where was the period where Eddie Van Halen was said, fuck the guitar, and he just starts noodling on the synthesizer instead, just to prove...
1984.
So there's some stuff on there.
The song is literally 1984, and then there's lots of synthesizer on that album, and then this album is just... He really wanted to explore that. I always find that weird because if you're so good at one instrument, why do these guys want to just... You're just like, you're this good at it. Why would you want to do anything else? I don't get it.
I think maybe he thought it was extreme minimalism, where he says, I've reached the epoch of guitaring, so therefore I will prove how great I am.
I know how to play flamenco on electric guitar, so what else can I do?
I'll prove how great I am by playing terribly on a synthesizer.
I'll tell you one funny story that may be true or not. Eddie Van Halen used to, whenever he was doing his guitar solos when they first got started, everybody wondered how he was doing it because he would turn his back to the audience when he was doing his solos because he didn't want anybody to figure out what he was doing.
Yeah.
I find that.
Like-
Or he was embarrassed because he was like, this is all I'm doing is playing classical. Whatever.
He has a pretty good opinion of his audience's musical genius if he thinks someone you can just watch him shredding on stage and be like, that's how he did it. All right, guys.
We can't afford that shit.
All right.
Now we can hear
We're
you.
starting 5150 in 5150, 5149, 5140. There's good enough. I'm the new singer of Van Halen.
I'm the new singer of Van Halen. I'm going to get rich as shit, mofos.
The stream of cash is coming down. Skibbity bop.
We went to high school together. It's going to be awesome.
But immediately, and again, I don't know who the producer is, there seems to be a general harder thump to Van Hagar, where there's more finesse to the David Lee Roth material.
This is very 1984-ish. This is, I feel like this song is kind of like your transition from, it's like, see, we can still do the arena rocker beginning song on the album.
And he's like, we gotta win the overall, we gotta win over the audience really fast.
Every whatever you want to call it, hair metal band, heavy metal, whatever, 80s band, always has to have this first song on the album that just pounds and rocks and does everything. You have to start out that way. No, you have to.
Was Best of Both Worlds a Van Halen song or a Sammy Hagar song? Because that was his greatest hits, and this sounds just like Best of Both Worlds.
Which song?
The Best of Both Worlds.
Oh, yeah, that was Sammy Hagar.
If that was him solo, or was that...
No, it's the first song on the second side of this album.
No. Oh, yeah, okay. So, our goal for this discussion, review, blah, 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 is to talk about...
We're getting a little Alex Van Halen. Hear that?
Is to talk about the key essential differences between Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth.
The differences?
Yay! Because for me, David Lee Roth had a lot more jumping and leotards and skibbity bops, and Sammy Hagar was more like, yeah, I'm getting down to business, baby. I just want to rock.
My take was always that Roth always wanted, he was always thinking about what it's going to sound like live, how it's going to come across live. How are we going to perform this where it sounds, where you get the same thing? And Hagar was always about, I want to make this song sound good, but he wasn't as worried about it. He's more of a figure it out later. That's the sound that I get. I always think he wasn't that worried about how it was going to sound when they had to play it live. He was more worried about making it right now.
Are you accusing David Lee Roth of being artistic?
I think he was a perfectionist. I think he had a vision for every single song, not just every album, every single song.
Oh.
And I think what you hear is exactly what David Lee Roth wanted to hear, to the detriment of the other people in the band sometimes.
Oh, I don't know if it's ironic or what, but the first song...
We're already done, by the way.
The first song of Van Hagar is called Good Enough.
First hit off the album. Why Can't This Be Love? Coming up in...
He's like, yeah, I'm good enough,
there it
whatever.
Is. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up and listen to Van Hagar,
I'm good
bitch.
enough. See, here's some synthesizer.
Well, they use it to good effect. It's not just Eddie Van Halen sitting there just playing block chords.
You know, now that I think about it, that might be the Sammy Hagar influence a little bit. He had been using some synthesizer before he got with Van Halen, so he may have been better at it. Yeah. You know, that could be a thing.
Moms,
I know he likes to declaratively loudly sing.
Yeah.
Without that great of a voice, which makes a great rock voice, I think. Just it sounds like a thing.
For me, the prime difference is most of the Van Hagar stuff is hard and hard forward driving, as where there would be songs with David Lee Roth where things would almost come to a standstill and they would just start showing off. Like there was more of a virtuoso interplay of the band, where with Sammy Hagar, it's just like what I said at the start, where it's just hard forward driving, kind of just pedal to the metal instead of there's not much showing off. It's just, we're just going to do hard driving rock.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they go to synthesizers, and if you notice, like, you talk about it driving, but it is like Alex Van Halen ends up standing out more with his drumming.
Like we've discussed before, they're using the synthesizer subtly and to good effect, where it's just part of the thumping. It's contributing to the thumping forward drive. But then there's that other Van Halen song. I've talked to you about it before. I can't remember what it was. It was a David Lee.
Both the Worlds?
No, it was a David Lee Roth one, where it's that one with the really dumb noodly synthesizer throughout it. It drives me insane. I hate that song.
I don't know what that one could be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never heard a David Lee Roth song I didn't like. All right, that's not
great
true.
Breakdown right here.
Yeah, break for 10 measures.
And this is where he...
That's for you.
Kind of, when he does his... If David Lee Roth was doing this part, he would go, oh my God, skibbity bop.
Or scream really loud. In a register that my dog would go crazy over. Well, this is so radio friendly, though. This is so radio friendly. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like just made for 1986 radio.
But I think this song has stood the test of time.
And if you ever saw the video with the Air Force jets or whatever flying around, it's like I don't know what they have to do with it, but
damn it, you're right. This song is the music equivalent of like the Blue Angels flying overhead at the Super Bowl. It almost doesn't even matter what
the lyrics are.
No. All right, that was Why Can't This Be Love? Now
we're
Get Up.
Get Up.
I don't know if I've heard this one.
Oh, you're going to love it because you love those songs that have nothing to do with anything and are just really fast.
Get up.
This is another one of those.
I can't get up.
We still rock even though David Lee Roth isn't here. It wasn't him, it's me. We're winning.
Oh yeah, we should have done that David Lee Roth solo album with I ain't got him, just a gigolo.
Oh my God, that would be like a 15-minute.
Just a gigolo. I heard Louis Prima hated that one. I don't know if that's true or not, but
go lay down.
Louis Prima, but I loved that album.
Okay, so this is. Oh, I thought it was just going to be an extended bass.
No, it's like 4 minutes long. Settle in.
Kick pedal solo.
Settle in. It's going to be a kick pedal solo for 4 minutes. Think that going into town, don't be a fool. It's like words for no reason. I think I've looked up the lyrics to this and wondered, what the hell is he talking about? It's just a bunch of phrases thrown together. And sometimes it's like he's trying to do some kind of weird, when people are like using imagery through words, it's like, see, music can be poetry. And it's like
impressionist.
Yeah, but
like impressionistic.
This is a great song to vacuum your floor to.
Yes, so like this song, to me, this is one of the Van Halen trademarks, is the double bass pedal, drum kick pedal sound, like the double time thing. So a comparison would be this and Hot for Teacher, but they're very similar in theory, but extremely different at the same time, where David Lee Roth era, there would be more space in the mix, and they would be changing things up and having a little more fun, as opposed to this sounds very close to it, but it's still just forward driving. This
is a great song to vacuum your floor to, or carpet bomb an enemy to. So, like, put this on while you're flying into the zone. And
I think the problem is, they're breaking it down
for 8 measures.
But I think that sounds better. I'm just gonna. Can someone suspend me from the ceiling?
Put a rubber band around my neck and just hang me next to the microphone.
So I think part of the problem is Sammy Hagar is not. He's not as good a rock and roll clown as.
No, he's very straightforward 70s rock, in an 80s world.
Yeah.
Into the 90s. I mean, they were successful into the 90s. I mean, financially, you could argue either was it Sammy Hagar getting with them that took them to the next level, or did David Lee Roth bring them to the next level, and then they brought in Sammy Hagar, and people just didn't even realize, people don't pay attention to stuff like that.
I just see it as a half and half split. I think there are numerous singers they could have gotten.
In a way, it's
to
a completely different band, and in a way, it's the exact same thing.
You know what?
It's just like the underlying parts are that really awesome Alex Van Halen drumming with Eddie Van Halen's guitars, and then they start playing with synthesizers, and you're like, meh, all right, let me see what you got. It was like, it's okay.
They were called Van Halen
and
for
that's
a
what
reason.
Get Up
they were,
is.
They were
It's just kind of like
force.
Look what we still can rock. Yeah. That's what I think. We still can do this.
So they were Van Halen for a reason, clearly.
And it's over eventually, but we have to scream for a minute.
Yeah, but you don't want to undervalue Sammy Hagar's. Anyway, I was saying, you can't underestimate the hit-making potential of Sammy J. Hagar.
Oh, yeah!
'Cause that's what f***ing dreams are made of. This song is so inspirational. It makes
Get in a goddamn airplane and fight somebody. Oh, it's just the best thing ever. We're gonna get...
It's at the end of the 1996 Power Rangers movie. They play this at the end, and it's glorious.
Are we ready?
All right, we're going to find out what dreams are made of.
What are dreams made of?
Eddie Van Hagar is going to tell us.
I got your dreams right here.
Oh, now look what you've done.
God, I love this song.
The humping is going to happen.
Oh, is this the one with the airplanes in it? This was my cousin's favorite album when it came out, and he would play it over and over again. He had the actual album, and he would play it on his little phonograph thing in his room, and I was just like, okay.
Since we've descended into idiocracy, basically, it's come true. I think this song should be the new national anthem.
We'll get higher. We'll get higher. And higher.
This song screams America, fuck yeah. Like a train going off the tracks. Yeah.
We're wrecking quickly.
This is his masterpiece. And like I said before the break, do not... Mm-hmm. It's like you have the perfect foundation of Eddie and Alex, and then the hit-making machine that was...
Okay.
Sammy
I'll tell you
Hagar.
something. Sammy Hagar really was looking for that patriotic thing, because he has an album that comes out after this. He does another solo album, and it's called Where Eagles Dare, or something like that. I don't remember the name of it exactly. It was something about Eagles Dare, or Eagles Roam, or Eagles Nest, or... I don't know.
Where Eagles Nest. Is it as good as I Am a Real American?
Where Eagles Dare might be a Clint Eastwood movie. It was something like that. I just remember somebody gave me the cassette. They bought it, listened to it, and said, "Here, you might like this." And I listened to it, and I'm like, "You're mistaken."
But so is that album along the same lines? Rick Derringer, Rock and Roll.
It's a lot of this. It's a lot of this, but more vitriolic. It's very... I just remember... I didn't know what to call it when I was a kid. I just remember thinking, I understand being patriotic, but this is just pandering.
Let's not talk over his greatest guitar solo.
Well, that's subjective.
No, this is pretty well set in stone. This is his greatest achievement. This was the pinnacle of Van Halen, right?
Well,
now wait a minute. The pinnacle of
Here.
Van Halen is not necessarily...
No.
my dog is so excited he's getting lipstick.
Oh no!
I told you the humping was happening. Look what you've done.
Is he doing Blue Steel? You look like... Straight up.
He's about to jump into a helicopter. God damn it!
We'll get higher and higher and all behind.
Ziggy is my Jamie Lee Curtis. He's my dumb guy.
Is there any other band that had the toms so ridiculously prominent in the mix? Maybe like Peter Gabriel on his third solo album, but it's just there's so much mid-range thud, and it went up at least 20%.
It was the
when
sound
he
of
joined
that
the
time
band.
anyway.
Oh, it's so nice being able to hear out of both of my ears. I'm made of.
I can hear you all the time.
Here's
It's
the
just
pinnacle of Van Halen in 3, 2,
There you go.
1.
Yep, you got to do some of that flamenco.
I don't know how they didn't make this the album closer. It's the perfect last song. There's nothing can top this. What was the point of putting this
That's not how you do albums.
midway through the album?
You don't put the greatest song on the end of the album. It's the greatest song at the end of the concert, but not the album. It's the song that opens the second side. And then you can fill it up with a bunch of filler that people have to buy anyway.
All right, Dreams is over. This is
Wait.
This is
Summer
Richard
Nights.
Marx Summer Nights. Oh yeah.
See, he hasn't completely given up guitars. Which is weird because Sammy Hagar played guitar and he thought himself quite the guitarist. And he took a back seat just to be in Van Halen.
I know he's the Mother Teresa of rock.
He really took a Stupen and the Rumpen.
A Stupen.
Just
Is Hagar German? Did he take a Stupen in der Rumpen?
I don't know. I will tell you something funny that I heard from somebody that went to a concert after 5150 came out. And you might think this is funny, you might not. But they told me that at one point they used to have a guitar solo from Eddie Van Halen that would meld into a guitar fight between Sammy Hagar and Eddie Van Halen. And I know you're going to be surprised, but guess who always won that in every concert? That's right.
Sammy Hagar would
Nope,
whip
Michael
out his
Anthony.
dick.
Michael Anthony won every night. He would come out there with a playing card from a deck that he had just opened, and he would play bass with that. And everybody just went, oh. All right, I'm lying. Whatever.
I can actually picture this in my head. That was entertaining. And then Sammy Hagar goes, "Did you like that?" Well, all right. Well,
Nope, that's a story for another time. Greatest concert I ever saw? Billy Sheehan playing bass. He did a bass solo for 10 friggin' minutes.
who?
Billy Sheehan. Just some basses from the 80s. It was just really
Anyway,
good.
we're in filler zone.
Summer nights with us. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in filler zone.
No.
Woo!
It's in filler zone. Ziggy would like to know what you're filling it with.
Oh, but what I brought up before, was something I don't miss from the albums era when people still went out and bought albums is
Def Leppard.
when bands would pile the majority of the good songs on the A side, and they would fool you into thinking it was a good album.
Usually with albums, it was they would have they would put 2 good songs on the first side, and then they would put on the first song and the second side was another, like what they thought would be like the third single maybe or something
To trick you into thinking the B side was good too.
Well, yeah, and then when tapes came out, they used to make it so they basically lined up, I think. So within a few seconds, you'd be able to play one really good song and then flip it over and listen to the other good song.
I want
Like this song probably just made it so it lined up on the tapes.
I want to invent a 12-sided playable thing, so you have to take it out each time.
Like a Dungeons and Dragons player.
The next 30 minutes are ad-free.
No, that's Spotify.
Wow, we're in total filler zone. Yeah, I'm just gonna
wait.
this.
I like this part. We're still on Summer Nights. I don't know why he had to squeeze out a fart right there, but whatever. I forgot about that part. I like that part.
It's the filler fart.
But wait, the second side is coming up, and so you're gonna get Best of Both Worlds coming up here shortly.
We have 4 songs and
17 commercials left,
and 40% battery left.
This is brought to you by
what's gonna make
Mentholyptus.
What's gonna make it? The album or the battery?
Petroleum jelly.
All right, that was "Endless Summer Nights" by Richard Marx.
And Imodium. Imodium. It makes you stop shitting.
Here's "Best of Both Worlds," a song that Sammy Hagar was so proud of. He had to entitle his greatest hits this. I don't know why, because the song's a giant steaming pile of shit.
And it makes you start shitting. Here you go.
This does sort of epitomize him, though. It's a giant block of cheese rock.
Totally a Sammy Hagar song right here. Best of Both Worlds.
Oh yeah. Like don't ask me why. This is just him through and through.
This is maybe the first song they did together and went, I think this could work. But this is totally a Sammy Hagar song.
Well,
Heroin. Heroin is the drug. What am I doing?
Then it looks like I'm coming in for the beach.
What am I doing?
Coming in. Oh, what's the song where he says, "Hot sweet cherries on the vine"?
No, that's another album for another time, my friend. Do not get us in copyright infringement territory.
One, cherries don't grow on vines, you asshole.
Do they grow on the ground?
They grow on stems.
I remember when I was a kid, I found out totally by accident that grapes grow on vines. I had no idea. I never thought about it. That was the whole funny part.
Oh, yeah. This is Best of Both Worlds. Nobody cares.
No, they totally care. I told them.
Oh. The other one that drives me nuts is...
the grapes grow on vines?
No.
What else grows on a f***ing vine?
The Doobie Brothers and...
Strawberries? Strawberries don't grow on a vine. They grow on the ground. Watermelons. Ground.
In the Doobie Brothers China Grove, they say, everything is buttered with a samurai sword. That's Japanese, you racist shits.
Everything is buttered with a samurai sword?
I don't know if they're saying everything is
you
better
just made me feel
everything is buttered
really screwed up. You just made me feel like I'm smoking dope right now.
Because I was talking about China Grove.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Alright, I'm going to ring the filler bell again.
Uh-oh.
I mean... Hagar loves
we're on the
it,
filler.
but...
Can you do it in time with the music? I mean, you're the one that knows how to play a frickin' instrument. You ought to be able to...
I think when he just loves when the music gets out of the way and becomes...
I would like to make an announcement.
Maybe it says something about his personality, but what he loves the most about rock is when the music becomes so blocky and banal and straightforward that his vocals become the only thing you hear because everything else starts to sound like static background noise. I think that's what he truly is passionate about in rock music.
That could totally be a thing. But hang in there, Love Walks In is coming up next, and that's another hit.
The people who complain about Van Hagar, I would say most of the time he's fine, but there are examples where he does hijack the band, and the Best of Both Worlds is an example of him totally hijacking the band.
Like, oh, it's going to be a super group, and then it really just became Sammy Hagar lyrics with Van Halen music. Van Hagar sounds more thrown together to me. They went for the, how can we get this done faster? You know, and it's just like, oh, just throw this cheap rhythm, like, just do this. Like, don't think about it. Just do it. It's time to pay the bills. Let's get out on tour. I think that's interesting, like, now that you have a lot of bands that make their nut off of touring instead of, you know, the recordings are great and there's money to be made, but it's like, where now it's getting back to, nope, you have to be able to perform live or people aren't gonna, they're not just gonna go see you because of your iTunes account. or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a David Lee Roth fan, and I really like that whenever you listen to anything he does, you have to respect that he knew all the genres of music and what would come across better no matter what you were listening to.
He was the most intelligent rock and roll clown in history.
Oh my god, that was prophetic.
I have to pee. All right, it's me, and we're doing Love Walks In. I think I know what this is. Oh, yeah. This is the super dramatic synthesizer love ballad. It's beautiful. No, cause fucking love walks in.
Oh, God, Van Hagar.
What does that mean, love walks in?
I think you really nailed it when you talked about Sammy Hagar deciding that his opinion was more important than just overriding everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wrong with Van Hagar.
Yeah, he's probably talking about himself in this song where he's like, I was love, I walked in and I saved this band. Oh no.
Alright, ready?
Ooh, this falls into the category of song that should have been on a Rocky soundtrack, but it was maybe,
Oh my
maybe
God.
a bit too late. Man.
Never you realize.
Yeah, this song,
Wait.
like great chorus, like
Feels
really
the same.
really nice chorus.
Loves of comes walking in.
Maybe
Some kind of alien?
if this song had any other arrangement, it might be a really good song, but they're trying.
Is it some kind of alien looks for an opening? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Parts of the verse are super hit and miss, but it's like if maybe this had a different arrangement, or they weren't trying to shoehorn it into a heavy hitting Van Halen song, it might be good.
I feel like this is the first single off the album. I don't remember, but
Because I
I don't want to look it up. I'm
too
lazy.
For some reason, I like the song. It's somehow better than the sum of its parts.
Oh, it's terrible.
Because there's parts of it that just don't make don't make much sense. It kind of comes to a dead halt.
What does it have
but-
to do with an alien?
I don't
know. And why is the alien looking for an opening? I just don't get it.
And that's another thing. I think you'll crucify me for this, but I think Hagar had a better.
I'm already in.
I think Hagar had a better sense of melody.
Oh my god, put your head on the block. You're an idiot. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm not saying
From an entertainment standpoint.
I'm not saying songwriting. I'm saying like lush melody, a nice flow of.
Nope. I'm always David Lee Roth all the way. But that's because I like the showmanship and I like the entertainment value and I know he was doing exactly what needed to be done.
And the podcast dies.
No, it was just like there was another line in this album I just don't understand. Something about war. Is it a war? This song
Love
just
comes walking in.
This song just sucks.
Does he tell what happens when it comes?
It was a
walking in?
hit. This song was on like top 40 radio. I don't know where it landed, but Jesus, they played it on the radio, and you just anybody who liked.
Fine,
anything-
you're right. This is super boring.
Oh, I didn't know you were arguing that it was good.
Fuck you.
And then you gotta filter my wife out laughing her ass off in the background.
There's no.
Were you trying to say this was a good song?
There is no.
This was.
All right.
Wait a minute, we're getting there. 5150 is one of those 5-minute instrumental songs that you like. You like those.
I need the bell. Filler bell, filler burp. You're right. He's relentlessly boring.
Sammy Hagar is just boring.
He's relentlessly radio friendly.
This is gonna sound great while you're getting a root canal.
All right. Here's. Wait. Why is this in quotations? 5150.
Because of that whole shit, nobody knew what 5150 meant.
I think you can do it. I believe in you.
I believe in you.
I got 5 and 1, 5 and 0. I think this is the only song on this album I haven't heard at all. I don't care, don't know. I instantly soured on this. You won. You wrangled me back. You wrangled me back over to the Roth side of.
I'll learn ya.
I should probably check.
If you really want an album that makes you think, maybe this was supposed to happen, OU812 was a better album for that, but that's for another time. They got rid of him and went with Sammy Hagar, and they said, how do we get in arenas? And they said, oh, make 5150, and they made 5150, and they were like, oh, that was amazing. And they said, do it again, and then they made OU812, and then even I was like...
No, I wasn't interrupting you. We are so far into Fillerville. The album ended like 10 minutes ago.
It did not. It's still going. It's just what people are going to need to understand is
this is the worst song I've ever heard.
We're going to do this, and then Inside is a shitty song that comes at the end of the album, and it's 5 minutes long, and we may not even get to that because
we were talking before about sandwiching all the good songs at the front of the album. But there is an art to it where generally you put at least one good song at the very end or right before the very end, so it isn't obvious. If you made an album that has some filler on it, it isn't completely obvious that you just shoehorned all the crap at the end of your album like this.
I'd be interested to see what other people thought about that, because I always, once the 80s rolled around...
Because this is dull.
No, if you ever want to hear how every 80s album was without listening to them, the perfect one was Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi. If you want to hear, the first song is the concert opening arena rocker, and then it, hit, minor hit, and then blah, 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 and then...
Sorry, I was staring at this... Where did you get this Woolworths basket from? Obviously a Woolworths, but...
Oh,
That's a long story that doesn't need to be on recorded.
Anyway, this song sounds like heavy metal Muzak.
That's Sammy Hagar.
It just sounds
in entirety. That's the whole sound of Van Hagar.
Here we got it. Good night, everybody. Heavy metal Muzak. We figured it out. All right.
This is what you can listen to on a radio.
We figured it out.
It doesn't
Goodbye.
matter.
Goodbye, folks.
You're not going to love it. You're not going to hate it. You know, if you're a girl that has to punch in a bunch of numbers at work, she's going to listen to this and either love it, hate it.
She's humming.
Or she's not even going to do either. She's going to be just kind of like...
She's filing her nails while humming, why can't this be love?
It has the right tempo to hit numbers into a thing for 8 hours. It's like, isn't that what all music was?
I don't think the song has changed key for 6 minutes.
That's because Sammy Hagar doesn't have a key.
Another one of his signatures.
It's whatever they auto-tune him to. But we didn't know what auto-tune that was back then, by the way. We didn't know what auto-tune was. Here comes the last song, and it's terrible.
You can talk about it. I quit.
It was your fault. I told you.
Should have done Avocab. What the fuck is this? Oh no, we went back to hot space.
I swear to God, the record company said, if you make a bunch of typical Van Halen songs, I will give you 5 minutes at the end of the album to do whatever the fuck you want. By the way, this is almost one of the shortest Van Halen albums. It's just Sammy Hagar stream of consciousness bullshit.
Doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
I'm only 5 of these podcasts in, but this one gets the award for most filler. There has not been an album thus far that's had this much filler.
I just feel like that's a Hagar album.
The last 30% of this fucking album is just nonstop.
Somebody going,
It broke me again.
Just noodle on the guitar for a while.
Oh my God.
Fuck it. Forget about it.
We have 7%. All right, final thoughts.
5150 is literally the percentage of I like it.
I will give it
50-50.
a 5 out of 150.
I will give it 7 tolls of the bell.
Okay. The album was spot on up until about 40% in. Hit a bit of a weak spot. Took a dip, was fine, and then took a nosedive off a cliff into hell.
A lot of turds here.
I was enjoying it really well up until the halfway point, and then it hit a dip, and just in the last 3 songs, just jump. Like, what are we listening to?
Nice.
Do you understand what we're listening to? This is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I think Alex Van Halen is drumming.
Yep.
And I think everything else is just a bunch of noise.
No, it's like they
took a 5-minute experiment.
It sounds like they.
Will people just listen to this?
Yeah, it sounds like they put something on auto repeat and then just quietly went one by one out the studio and wondered, can we get people to listen to this? All right, arrivederci, folks.
We're all getting paid either way.
Steaming pile of. You never put the worst song on the album at the end.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway, we made it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll save that discussion for the next time.
Freaked out.
Yeah.
He just freaked out. I don't know. Yeah, Abacab. That's fine. But I thought we were going to do that some other time.
But yeah, the Genesis album with Whodunnit on it. At least they sandwiched that one turd in the middle of the album.
Oh, Genesis.